If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. Lewis Carroll from Alice in Wonderland. Most of us have a rough draft of how our life should look like. We get inspired by people in our culture, society, even media personalities, and we borrow concepts from people who look like they have it all. And we think that if we have the same things, we'll be happy in our lives. We usually don't have solid blueprints around what we would like to have. Um, Instead, we have more clarity about what we would not like to have. So it's like we are moving away from unwanted stuff instead of actively moving towards wanted stuff. It might be something like, I don't want a relationship that's draining. I don't want a job which is sucky. I don't want to be tight with money. And I don't want to be a shallow person. So, mostly we are moving away from unwanted stuff instead of moving in the direction of what we want. The problem with this approach is that if we are not tracking our progress in the direction of where we want to go, we slowly start falling back into our default programming or a state of homeostasis. Homeostasis in this case is our subconscious mind. And I talked about how subconscious creates our reality in one of my previous videos. I will add the link in the description box for that if you want to check it out. So, the subconscious constitutes about 90% of our mind. It's the place where all our behaviors, habits, memories, um, even our thoughts and emotions that we repressed, our conditioning from culture, society, and maybe past traumatic events, all this data is down there. So while consciously we might be looking at something, it's only 10% of us who is focused in that direction. But guess who's calling the shots? It's a subconscious mind. And if subconscious or the default programming is in charge, and the thinking is that, let's say, relationships are hard, then that's what we'll create. Even if I consciously want to create a good relationship, but the subconscious keeps telling me that relationships take a lot of work, and I'm not good enough for a good relationship, then I will keep self sabotaging myself when I am in places where I could attract a partner suitable to my needs. Same for work scenarios. If I want to have a big career, but the subconscious belief is that big careers come with big stress and big responsibilities, then I will try to stay away from big opportunities because my subconscious wants to keep me safe and it would not want me to risk itself by putting me into situations that cause me stress or cause me danger. Same for money. Maybe the subconscious belief is that only selfish people have a lot of money, and if I think I am a good person, then I will not even go or not even take up those opportunities where there's a chance of me making money because deep down I feel I'm a good person and only selfish or bad people have money. So I will not even gravitate towards those opportunities and I will stay safe by staying away from those opportunities. So these are behaviors where we keep self sabotaging ourselves, where we keep running into these brick walls and we feel why things don't align when we are consciously putting in effort. That's because subconscious is calling the shots there. And the worst of all, when we start playing the victim card, when we hear things like, oh, it does not work for me, I'm unlucky, it's very hard for me, God or universe or fate is against me. Um, Carl Jung said that which we do not bring to consciousness appears in our lives as fate. So that's why it's important to bring this unconscious into conscious so that we know what we are up against instead of just blaming culture or environment or circumstances or even fate or God. We need to take responsibility for our own lives. So if conscious is only 10% and then 90% is subconscious, and subconscious is driving all these decisions, does that mean we are doomed? Does that mean we cannot have the life of our dreams? Absolutely not. We still can have what we want. How do I know this? Look around. There are people who have achieved big things in life in spite of all that was against them. People who have been in really bad circumstances, negative scenarios, and still rose above their circumstances and and achieved great things in life. They are people like us. They also operate from the same mind. So if they can, we can too. The difference is that those people who achieved these big things in life, they had a solid plan. They were not just um, tracking things willy nilly, and when hardships showed up, when there were some failures along the path, they gave up. No, that's not how it works. So, number one step is you need a solid blueprint for your goal. You cannot just wing it. You need a solid definition of your goal. That's where an example of vision boards comes into play. And they are very helpful because what we are doing is there is this idea in our head about how something should look like, maybe a relationship, maybe a career, maybe financial situation, maybe your own self growth, how that looks like. And we are putting it on a board in front of us. And if pictures is not your style, then write it down, define as best as you can. We are shifting this energy from a mental construct into something that you can see, and just that act of shifting this energy into something concrete where you can see it in front of you will provide you with a lot of insight. So if you want to be that big CEO of the company, see what it looks like for you. How do you dress up? How do you present yourself? What does a day look like for you? So try to do this exercise. Come up with a vision board or write it down and see what comes up. That's number one. Number two is visualization. Sit in a quiet space and visualize how it feels to be that CEO, how it feels to be that person who has this amazing relationship. Embody that person. And I understand if your goal is 5 years into the future, embodying that CEO right now may not be completely possible, but there would still be something that you can think about because it's your goal. Something is pulling you in that direction, which means you have a connection to it. So try to visualize whatever you can at this point, whatever makes sense to you, whatever resonates with you. That will provide you with a lot of insight. So, visualization is number two. Number three is gap analysis. So, right now, where you are is your current state. Where you want to be in the future is your future state. Between the two, there is this gap. So, what you need to do is do gap analysis. What I mean by that is break down this entire path into different milestones. So, if your overarching goal is 5 years into the future, break it down into intervals of 1 year. How do you, where do you see yourself 1 year from now, and the next year, and the next year? And if it's not possible to do all the way, do at least for the first 2 years. Where do you see yourself? What are the milestones? What are the steps? So these three exercises will give you a lot of data and a lot of insight about your goal and the steps that you need to take to achieve that goal. So do these exercises. You will get a lot of data, and while you're doing this exercise, there might be certain things that don't align, that don't resonate. So if you're thinking in terms of that big CEO of the company, you might feel, when I feel about that person, it seems very restrictive to me. This corporate energy seems stifling. So I would rather do something on my own. I don't want to go down that path of being a corporate person. So, right off the bat, you have data where something is not aligning. So, you can course correct, you can change it. It's better to have this data now instead of moving along that path and realizing it 1 year into the path. And while these three exercises are great in themselves, a big benefit of all these three exercises is as soon as you do these three exercises, you will come up with all these beliefs hitting you right, left, and center, which are your limiting beliefs, which are your subconscious patterns. So, if you want to be this big CEO, you might come up with thoughts like, do you think you can be that person? Can you inspire others? Can you lead others? Do you have the skill set? Or if it's a relationship, if you want to attract this kind of person who checks all these check boxes, do you think they will like you? You have these data points, these are the limiting beliefs. Come up with strategies to combat them, to make sure that you are aligning yourself in direction of your dreams. And it might not be everything at this point. You might still encounter some other beliefs later on, but this is a very good place to start. You know where you are, you know where you want to be, you understand the path, you are making progress, and also take accountability, take responsibility from time to time. See where you are, track your progress, and if something is missing, course correct, realign, or recalibrate. Make sure you are moving in the direction of where you want to go. This is how you become a conscious creator. This is how you actively go towards your goals. And if you think it is a lot of effort, think, do a cost benefit analysis. This might feel a little overwhelming. This might feel like a lot of work, but then you are focusing all your energy in the direction where you want to go, in the direction of the big life that you want to have. So the yeah, there is effort, but the effort is aligned. Instead of this, if you just willy nilly come up with some goals and you move towards them, if it's possible, if not, you give up. In that case, you go down a path, it does not work for you, you give up, and then you start in the other direction. If that does not work for you, you give up and you start in the third direction. So you're wasting your resources and energies. Instead of that, why not do the work upfront and then go down a path? This is how you consciously create something. And if things change, you recalibrate. That's okay. But the benefit is that we are not settling for mediocrity. We are actively going in the direction of our dreams. And this is what makes the difference. People who achieve things follow a path, make sure they are progressing on that path, and from time to time take stock of the situation and keep progressing and keep recalibrating. And people who just um, vaguely follow paths, then they might end up somewhere where it's okay, it's not the best, it might not be the greatest, but hey, at least it does not suck. So think for yourself, do you want a life which embodies everything that you would like to have? Would you like to have a life of your dreams, or would you like to settle for something which is a happy medium where, hey, it's not the greatest, but it's not so bad? Think for yourself, be a conscious creator, put in the energy, put in the effort, make sure you know where you're going, and you know the steps that you need on the way, and you are also tackling your limiting beliefs and taking responsibility for your action, taking stock of the situation from time to time, so as to make sure that you are headed in the direction of your dreams. All of us have the capability to achieve the life of our dreams. The bottom line is whether we are ready to take responsibility for our actions or not. Be a conscious creator. Take responsibility for your life. Don't settle for mediocrity. It's your life. Make it big. Good luck.